hear that? That is a protester screaming Allahu Akbar on American soil in front of the White House. What America is this? This is America on the brink. And folks, remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you like me and you like what we do here. And if you love it, you can also become a Daily Caller Patriot. There's a link in the description below. Lots of great analysis pieces from some of my very talented coworkers, so you don't want to miss it. So thousands marched in D.C. on Saturday to call on the Biden administration to let Hamas stock up on their weapons so that they can slaughter Jews more easily. Because that's what would happen with a ceasefire. Have a better look at this protest. So lots to dissect here. So first of all, there was a ceasefire up until October 7th. Hamas broke that. Not Israel, Hamas. Now, you can also hear some disgusting protesters shouting, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! That is the same slogan that we always hear every single time a terrorist is about to murder one person or many people in front of the White House. In the United States of America. They are literally calling not only for the genocide of Jews, but they are ignoring the fact that there are Americans being held hostage. These protesters, they had signs and chants supporting the Intifada and Hezbollah. Have a look.
Where'd you get the Hezbollah from Lebanon? You gotta go yourself, man. I ordered it from a guy here.
Where is your sense of American pride? Look, if you don't like Israel, I don't know what to tell you, but there are Americans being held hostage too. None of this is about freeing Palestine, okay? Because Palestinians have been free since 2007 when Israel pulled out. And what happened? Hamas took over. They were voted in part, okay? And now that the Palestinians are about to reap what they sow, suddenly they want to play the victim. Remember something, millions of Germans voted for Hitler. They voted for the Nazi Party. And I think it was about 2 million German civilians were killed in World War II because that was the price to pay for making sure that another 6 million Jews wouldn't be systemically killed by the same regime that was voted in for, in part, by the dead civilians. Elections have consequences. Palestinians, they elect Hamas, okay? They elect him into the Palestinian Authority. Maybe not all of them, but some of them do, okay? They control the Palestinian Authority. They control the Palestinian Health Ministry. Elections have consequences. Jews are literally the only group of people in the world that actually have to defend why they deserve to live, why they shouldn't be randomly slaughtered. And you know, these protesters, they can say it's about saving civilians, but when you look at these Palestinian protesters who say they support Palestine in the immediate aftermath of the October 7th attacks, that's them saying that Palestinians are the equivalent of Hamas, not us, you. Because if it wasn't, these protesters simply would have come out and said, this is horrible, this is tragic. And that would have been before Israel even had time to begin their self-defense. But instead you saw the bloodshed and said, well, free Palestine, right? Also, take a look at what they did to this Ben Franklin statue. The United States was founded on Judeo-Christian values, okay? Franklin holding similar values himself. The Islamic extremist values, okay? Including those held by people who claim to be supporting Palestine but are really supporting Hamas because they have yet to condemn Hamas's attacks, okay? They just keep saying, well, they're trying to fight oppression. Right. Those values, they do not fall in line with American values, okay? Americans value freedom and prosperity. They value tolerance and peace. Look, America gets, the moniker, oh, well, we're a melting pot. But let's be clear about something. We're a melting pot in the sense that we will take you in if you want to be part of our culture, okay? You want to share our values. But those values shouldn't be changed, okay? If you like your core values and your culture, wherever you're coming from, stay there, okay? But if you're coming to America, you best believe in the American principles. And I can assure you that American principles do not fall in line with whatever is going on over in Palestine or in the streets of D.C. supporting what's going on in Palestine. Now, speaking of this topic, a handful of congressmen, including Republican Representative Thomas Massie, decided to vote against a resolution condemning anti-Semitism on college campuses. Take a look at how Massie defended his vote.
So explain to us why you voted to table or basically kill this resolution.
Well, there are a couple reasons. Number one, free speech isn't just about protecting the speech that you like. It's especially about protecting the speech you don't like.
Massie and others are conflating mob harassment and threats to free speech. Massie thinks he's taking, the moral high ground with the hate speech is free speech route, which, look, I agree with that. But hate speech doesn't permit speech where advocacy is directed to incite or produce lawless actions, okay? That's according to the 1969 Supreme Court case, Brandenburg versus Ohio. When you have college students calling for the beheading of Jews, right, their Jewish classmates, shouting, "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free," which inherently calls for the elimination of the Jewish state.
Free, free, free Palestine! From the river to the sea! From the river to the sea!
I think it's important that we make our voices heard.
When you have professors calling the slaughtering of 1,200 innocent people exhilarating.
It was exhilarating! It was exhilarating! It was energizing!
That's not hate speech. That is encouragement. It is advocacy on behalf of Hamas, and it is not protected speech. And I'm really disheartened to see Massie take this stance, okay? If these pro-Palestine protesters were saying, we want a two-state solution, but Israel oppresses us, and this isn't fair, that's one thing. But when you are threatening to shoot your Jewish classmates or rape them, or threatening them for their lunch hauls, that is not protected free speech. So shame on Massie and the other Democrats who joined him, okay? You can believe in, protecting speech you don't like, but sometimes speech you don't like is also threatening others, and that doesn't count. And lastly, Joe Biden is in deep you-know-what.
Yeah, it's not an outlier. We've seen similar polls like this that show in that hypothetical matchup, which doesn't seem all that hypothetical anymore, of Biden versus Trump. It shows that he can actually win and is leading in these battleground states. But people have not been paying attention to what Trump has become. Trump, since he left the White House, and this is really the theme of my book, has become more detached from reality than he ever was even in the White House.
So actually, voters have been paying attention, right? That is why Biden is in the position that he's in now. So Carl works for ABC News, which has literally had wall-to-wall coverage of Trump since the moment he took office, the moment he left office, especially with all of the indictments. I mean, they salivate at this, right? So even if you didn't want to pay attention, you have no choice, right? You flick on CNN, ABC, NBC, MSNBC, it's all Trump all the time, right? The legacy media does not want to believe that their hard work of trying to brainwash us into a monolithic thought failed. That voters vote not based on what some political pundit predicts about the end of democracy, but based on whether they can afford to put food on their table. And now have a listen to this Texas Democrat.
Here's the deal. Perception is reality. And so when you look at the data that was provided in this poll, it talks about how people feel. And when people decide whether they're going to the poll or whether they're not going to the poll, it's all about how you feel in that moment. And so while the facts may not align with their feelings are dictating their reality. Their reality is that they said that they feel better or they felt better when Trump was in office.
They think we're stupid. They think that we aren't smart enough to vote unless we're, the upper middle class that is going to vote blue. You were smart enough to vote in 2020 if you were voting for Biden, but you're a swing voter and this time you're thinking about changing your vote to Trump? Well, we can't trust you now. You're not smart enough to vote. You don't really know what's going on, right? People know what's going on. They know their groceries and gas cost more. They know these things when they are sitting down at the table trying to figure out which bill they should pay and which bill they should risk defaulting on at the end of every month. And to suggest otherwise, it is to suggest that these voters who vote with their feelings that are based off of reality are not worthy of a vote. It's to tell these voters that, you read the report? I mean, this is the same mentality as Biden's famous.
I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Remember, if you didn't vote for a Democrat, then you weren't really black? It's this mentality that if a black person votes Republican, then they're living in a fantasy land. They're not smart, right? That they need more coaxing because they're wrong, right? Stop treating black voters like they are this monolith, right? Biden is not losing the black vote because of Trump. He's losing the black vote because of himself. Folks, we will have more tomorrow on The Brink, another busy week ahead of us. We'll see you back here.